Hey folks, welcome back. Let's be real, nothing shifts the dynamic of attraction more than the fear of loss. When a woman starts to sense that you're slipping out of her reach, that's when she starts paying attention. But here's the thing, most guys get this completely wrong. They think the way to make her want them more is by playing games, by acting distant, by trying to make her jealous. They pull away in an obvious way, hoping she'll chase. They send texts that scream, "Look at me, I'm busy," instead of actually being busy. But you and I both know that's not power. That's desperation in disguise. Real power. It comes from becoming a man she doesn't want to lose in the first place. Not because you're manipulating her emotions, not because you're putting on some fake act of indifference, but because you've built yourself into someone so solid, so self-sufficient, that she instinctively knows you won't wait around for her. And that's what triggers the fear. The realization that you don't need her, that your life is moving forward with or without her. Now, here's the truth most men don't want to hear. You don't trigger her fear of losing you by focusing on her. You do it by focusing on yourself, by becoming the kind of man who naturally creates a presence that people don't want to lose. A man who values his time, his peace, his energy. A man who, if someone doesn't appreciate him, simply moves forward, without hesitation, without bitterness, without looking back. That's what we're breaking down today. I'm going to show you exactly how to shift the dynamic without playing games, how to embody a mindset that makes her see you differently. Because when a woman realizes that she's not the center of your world, that's when she starts wondering if she's about to lose something valuable. And that's when she starts investing more. By the end of this video, you'll understand the 9 key principles that make a woman see you as irreplaceable. And once you internalize these, you'll never have to chase again. Before we dive in, let me ask you, what's the one trait you think makes a man impossible to replace? Drop your answer in the comments, and let's get started. Number 1, live as if you're already whole. You ever notice how the men who seem to attract effortlessly never really look like they're trying? They don't chase. They don't beg. They don't sit around wondering why someone isn't texting them back. It's not because they're playing a game. It's because they genuinely don't need to. And that is what separates them from everyone else. See, most guys make the mistake of thinking that they need a woman to feel complete. They operate from a place of lack, believing that once they have her attention, her validation, her love, then they'll finally feel like they're enough. But the second she senses that you're looking to her to fill a void, something inside her shifts. She may not even realize it consciously, but her attraction starts to fade. Because deep down, people don't respect what they can control. Imagine this. You meet a woman, and from day one, she clings to you like her entire happiness depends on whether or not you like her. At first, maybe it feels good. But after a while, something starts to feel off. You start wondering, why does she need me this much? And more importantly, why doesn't she have a life outside of me? That's exactly what happens when a woman senses that a man isn't whole on his own. When she realizes that he's not standing on his own 2 feet, that he's using her as a crutch for his self-worth. She may stick around for a while, but deep down, she's already planning her exit. But here's the flip side. When a man is whole before she even steps into the picture, she feels something different. She sees a man who is already fulfilled, already focused, already moving forward, whether she's there or not. And that creates something incredibly rare. The fear of losing him. Not because he's playing some manipulative mind game, not because he's trying to make her jealous or ignoring her texts on purpose, but because she knows if she were to walk away, his life wouldn't change. He wouldn't chase. He wouldn't beg. He wouldn't crumble. He would simply continue to be the man he was before she ever showed up. And that makes her stop in her tracks. Because deep down, every woman knows that men like this are rare. Most guys are out here proving themselves, over-explaining, waiting for permission to feel good enough. But the man who already sees himself as enough, he's dangerous in the best way possible because he doesn't need anyone. Now, let's be clear. Living as if you're already whole doesn't mean acting like you don't care. It doesn't mean shutting people out or refusing to connect. What it does mean is that your happiness, your confidence, your sense of purpose, none of it is dependent on whether or not a woman chooses you. And the irony? The moment you start living this way, women do start choosing you. Because when she sees that you're truly grounded in yourself, when she realizes that her presence is an addition to your life, not the center of it, she starts to feel something she wasn't expecting, the fear of losing you. So the real question is, are you living as if you're already whole? Or are you waiting for someone to come along and complete you? Drop "I don't chase, I attract" in the comments if you're ready to become the kind of man no one wants to lose. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because this is just the beginning. Number 2. Let her see you choose peace over drama. You ever notice how some guys seem to get caught up in constant arguments, while others just glide through life effortlessly? The difference isn't luck, it's a choice. And that choice is peace over drama. Most men don't realize this, but a woman will test you. Not because she's intentionally trying to cause problems, but because she needs to feel something real. She needs to know if you're the kind of man who can handle himself, or if you're just another guy who loses control the moment emotions run high. Let's say she starts an argument over something small, maybe a delayed text, maybe something you said that rubbed her the wrong way. The average guy reacts instantly, trying to defend himself, explaining, over-explaining, getting pulled into her emotional storm. But the man who commands respect, he remains calm, steady, unshaken. He doesn't engage in unnecessary battles because he knows that his peace is worth more than proving a point. And the moment she sees that, she feels it. Because deep down, every woman is looking for a man who brings stability to her world, not chaos. She wants a man who can stand in the middle of a storm and not flinch. And when you show her that no amount of drama can shake you, she realizes something powerful. You're not like the others. Think about it. Who do people respect more? The guy who gets rattled over every little thing, or the man who carries himself with quiet confidence, knowing that not every battle is worth his energy? This doesn't mean ignoring her. It doesn't mean shutting down emotionally. What it does mean is having the emotional control to respond instead of react. It means showing her without words that your peace, your energy, your presence, those are things she has to earn access to. Because here's the truth. Women don't respect men who get pulled into every argument. They respect the man who can walk away from the noise. The man who knows that his time, his energy, his focus are too valuable to be wasted on things that don't matter. When she realizes that you're not the guy who engages in petty drama, that you won't sit there and argue just to prove a point, something shifts. She starts to wonder, why is he so unshaken? Why doesn't he react like other men do? And that curiosity, that intrigue, is where real attraction is born. Because the truth is, most men don't have this level of control. Most men get emotionally pulled into situations without even realizing it. But the man who chooses peace over drama, he's the man she won't forget. So ask yourself, Are you the man who gets pulled into unnecessary conflict? Or are you the man who can rise above it? Drop "I choose peace" in the comments if you're ready to step into this mindset. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because this is the kind of power most men never tap into. Number 3, embrace the art of controlled absence. Hey folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that the more available you are, the less people seem to appreciate you? It's a harsh reality, but it's the truth. What's always there, always accessible, always within reach, gets taken for granted. And the same thing happens in relationships. Most guys think that if they're always around, always texting first, always showing up when she calls, she'll appreciate the effort. But that's not how attraction works. If a woman never gets the chance to feel your absence, she'll never truly value your presence. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't about playing games or ghosting. It's about understanding one simple principle. People respect what they can't easily have. And if you never step back, if you never create space, she'll never have the opportunity to feel what it's like without you. Think about the last time you lost something important. Your favorite watch, your lucky jacket, maybe even an opportunity you didn't take seriously at first. The moment it was gone, you suddenly realized just how much it meant to you. That's exactly what happens when you embrace controlled absence. Folks, here's the thing. You don't have to disappear completely. You just need to show her that you're not always on standby, that you have a life, a purpose, things that are just as important, if not more, than waiting around for her next text. Let me give you a scenario. Let's say you've been seeing someone for a while. You're always the one reaching out, always the one initiating plans, always the one making sure she's happy. But suddenly, you pull back. You stop texting first. You focus on your own life. You go out, you enjoy your time, and you don't check your phone every 2 minutes. What happens? At first, she might not notice. Maybe she even enjoys the space. But give it time. Soon, she starts wondering, why isn't he texting me like before? What's changed? And that's when she starts thinking about you more. Not because you played some manipulative trick, but because you created the most powerful emotion in human psychology, curiosity. See, folks, when you're always there, always available, she doesn't have to wonder. But when you step back, even just a little, she starts noticing your absence. She starts feeling the void. And that's when she realizes she doesn't want to lose you. This isn't about making her jealous. It's not about mind games. It's about showing her, through your actions, not your words, that you're not a man who needs her attention to feel whole. That you are completely capable of standing on your own. And let me tell you something. When a woman sees that, she starts chasing. She starts reaching out first. She starts putting in the effort. Because deep down, she knows that a man like you, one who values himself enough to create space, is a man she doesn't want to lose. So, folks, I gotta ask, are you making yourself too available? Or are you giving her the chance to feel your absence? Drop "I own my presence" in the comments if you're ready to step into this mindset. And if this is making you rethink how you approach attraction, stick around, because what I'm about to say next will change how you see everything. Number 4, showcase unapologetic self-respect. You ever notice how the men who get the most respect never have to ask for it? They don't demand it. They don't force it. They simply carry themselves in a way that makes it non-negotiable. Self-respect isn't about telling people to respect you. It's about showing them, through your actions, that you will never settle for less than what you deserve. And folks, that applies to everything. Relationships, friendships, business, and most importantly, how you treat yourself. See, most men compromise themselves without even realizing it. They let things slide. They tolerate disrespect in small ways, thinking it's not a big deal. They make excuses for people who don't value them. And then, before they know it, they're caught in a cycle of proving their worth to someone who never truly valued them in the first place. But here's the truth. If you have to convince someone to respect you, you've already lost. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're seeing someone new, and she starts canceling plans last minute. At first, you let it go. Then it happens again, and you start wondering, should I call her out? Should I just ignore it? Maybe she's just busy. So you keep chasing, keep putting in effort, hoping she'll recognize your value. But what happens? Instead of appreciating you, she starts taking you less seriously, because in her mind, if he's willing to put up with being treated like an option, then maybe he's not as high value as I thought. That's the reality, folks. You don't earn respect by tolerating disrespect. A man with unapologetic self-respect doesn't ask for better treatment. He simply removes himself from situations that don't align with his standards. She cancels plans on him. He doesn't get mad, doesn't argue, he just stops making the effort. She plays mind games. He doesn't chase. He lets her play alone. She disrespects his time. He doesn't explain why that's unacceptable. He just moves on. And that's what separates the men she respects from the ones she forgets. Most guys think being understanding or patient will win her over. But the reality, women respect men who respect themselves first. So here's the question. Folks, are you setting the tone for how people should treat you? Or are you still making excuses for behavior that you know isn't okay? Drop "My self-respect is non-negotiable" in the comments if you're done settling for less. And stick around, because what comes next will separate the men who command respect from the ones who beg for it. Number 5, become a moving target, folks. Let me tell you something that most men get completely wrong. If you're too predictable, too easy to figure out, you become boring. And when you become boring, you become replaceable. You ever notice how some guys seem to always keep women's attention without even trying? They're not necessarily the best looking, the richest, or the most outgoing, but there's something about them that keeps women hooked. That something is mystery. These men are moving targets. They can't be pinned down. They don't fit into a simple box, and that makes them irresistible. So, what does this mean for you? It means you stop being predictable. It means you stop being the guy she can always read like an open book. It means you embrace an identity that's constantly growing, constantly evolving, constantly becoming more than you were yesterday. Let's break it down, folks. Imagine you're seeing someone, and every day you do the same thing. You text at the same time, say the same things, have the same routine. There's no unpredictability, no intrigue. She knows exactly what you're going to do next. And once that happens, she stops thinking about you. Now, contrast that with the guy who keeps moving, keeps evolving. One day, he's working on his business. The next, he's traveling. The next, he's hitting the gym hard, pushing himself to new limits. He's always on the move, always focused on something greater than just her. She doesn't know what he's going to do next. She doesn't know if he's going to be available all the time. And that makes her intrigued. That makes her chase. Because, folks, people don't crave what they fully understand. They crave what keeps them guessing. You want proof? Look at the way the world works. What do people obsess over? Limited time offers, mysterious figures, stories that leave unanswered questions. We are wired to chase things that seem just out of reach. So when you become a moving target, when you stop centering your entire life around one woman, and instead center it around your own growth, your own purpose, your own evolution, something amazing happens. She starts chasing you, because now she doesn't know what's next. She doesn't know where you stand. She doesn't know if she has you locked down. And that uncertainty, That is what fuels attraction. But here's the mistake most guys make. They become too available, too predictable, too easy to figure out. They let her know exactly what they're thinking, exactly how much they care, exactly where they stand, without her having to work for it. And what happens? She gets bored. The best relationships, the best connections, they thrive on a little bit of tension, a little bit of unpredictability, a little bit of what's he going to do next? So, folks, ask yourself, are you a moving target or are you standing still? Drop "I evolve daily" in the comments if you're ready to step into this mindset. And if this is making you rethink everything you thought you knew about attraction, trust me, you're not going to want to miss what's coming next. Number 6. Reveal your selective attention, folks. Let me ask you something. Who gets your attention? And more importantly, who actually deserves it? Most guys make the mistake of giving their attention away too easily. They're eager to respond, eager to please, eager to show how interested they are. But here's the truth. Attention is a currency. And if you hand it out for free, it loses all its value. Think about it. What do people value the most? The things that are hard to get, the things they have to work for, the things that aren't handed to them on a silver platter. And guess what? Your attention works the exact same way. When a man is too available, when he reacts to everything she does, when he gives her his full focus without making her earn it, she subconsciously starts to think, if he's this easy to get, maybe he's not as valuable as I thought. Now, I'm not saying you should ignore people or be rude. What I'm saying is that you should be selective. Your time, your focus, your energy. These are things that should only go to people who genuinely appreciate and reciprocate them. So how do you reveal your selective attention? It's simple. You stop reacting to everything. Most guys, the moment a woman gives them the slightest bit of attention, they jump on it. They drop everything. They make themselves fully available. But a man who understands his value, he doesn't move just because she snaps her fingers. Let's say you're out with friends, having a good time, focused on your own life. Then suddenly, you get a text from someone you've been interested in. Do you immediately stop everything and reply? Or do you continue living your life, knowing that she can wait a little? Because, folks, here's the thing. When you don't respond immediately, when you're not always available, you create an element of mystery. You show her, without saying a word, that your life doesn't revolve around her. And that is what makes her want your attention even more. People chase what they can't fully have. It's psychology. And when you show that your attention is earned, not given freely, you instantly become more attractive. But let's flip it for a second. What happens when you give your attention too easily? You become predictable. You become just another guy. You become someone she doesn't have to work for. And that's when she starts pulling away. The men who keep a woman's attention aren't the ones who give it away too soon. They're the ones who make her earn it. They're the ones who, instead of chasing, pull back just enough to make her wonder. So, folks, ask yourself, are you handing out your attention like it's unlimited? Or are you making sure only the right people get access to it? Drop "My attention is earned" in the comments if you're done wasting your energy on those who don't deserve it. And if this is shifting your mindset, just wait. Because what's coming next will change how you handle everything. Number 7. Stand firm in your boundaries. Let's be real, folks. Most people don't have boundaries. They think they do. They might say they won't tolerate certain things. But the moment someone comes along and pushes those limits, they fold. And when that happens, they lose all respect. A man who doesn't stand firm in his boundaries is a man who gets walked all over. And trust me, nothing kills attraction faster than a guy who allows himself to be treated like an option. See, boundaries aren't about controlling someone else. They're not about forcing people to act a certain way. They're about defining what you will and won't accept. Let's break it down. Imagine you start seeing someone, and in the beginning, things are great. But then, she starts testing your limits. Maybe she cancels last minute. Maybe she flirts with other guys in front of you. Maybe she plays the hot and cold game. Most men, when faced with this, rationalize it away. They make excuses. Maybe she's just busy. Maybe she's just trying to see if I care. Maybe I should just go along with it so I don't push her away. But that's the trap. Folks, the moment you let someone cross your boundaries without consequences, you've just told them, I don't respect myself enough to enforce my own standards. And if you don't respect yourself, why should she? A man who stands firm in his boundaries, he doesn't get angry. He doesn't argue. He doesn't beg for better treatment. He simply walks away from anything that doesn't align with his standards. Let me give you an example. Let's say you told yourself that you won't tolerate flaky behavior. You meet someone, things are going well, but then she starts canceling plans at the last minute. What do most guys do? They keep trying. They act more understanding. They rearrange their schedule. They let it slide. And what happens? She loses respect, and the cancellations keep happening. But the man with unshakable boundaries? He sees it happen once, maybe twice, and he makes a decision. This isn't for me. He doesn't chase. He doesn't beg. He just moves on. And guess what? That's when she realizes she messed up. See, folks, people only respect boundaries when they see consequences for crossing them. Think about it. If a company has a strict return policy, you don't try to argue your way around it. If a high-value club has an exclusive entry requirement, you don't demand to be let in. You either meet the standard or you don't. And when a man operates with that same level of self-respect, he becomes magnetic. He becomes someone who people don't want to lose. But here's the part most people don't understand. Boundaries only work if you enforce them. It's not enough to say you won't tolerate something. You have to actually follow through. If she disrespects your time and you keep rewarding her with attention, you just showed her your boundaries are meaningless. If she plays games and you stick around hoping she'll change, you just told her you're willing to be disrespected. But if you stand firm, if you make it clear, without anger, without drama, just through your actions, that you don't tolerate disrespect, suddenly people start treating you differently. And here's the best part. Women are naturally drawn to men with strong boundaries. Why? Because it signals strength. It shows that you value yourself more than you value anyone's approval. It shows that you're not desperate for validation. It shows that you're a man who isn't afraid to walk away from something that doesn't align with his standards. So, folks, let me ask you, are your boundaries just words, or are they non-negotiable? Drop "I stand firm" in the comments if you're done making excuses for disrespect. And trust me, what comes next? It's the ultimate power shift. Number 8. Radiate quiet confidence. Not loud validation, folks. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how the most respected people in the room are never the ones trying the hardest to be noticed? It's never the guy bragging about his success, flashing his wealth, or talking a little too much about his achievements. No, it's always the one who carries himself with an effortless kind of confidence. A quiet, unshakable self-assurance that speaks louder than words ever could. See, the moment you start seeking validation, you're already losing power. Why? Because the second you need someone else's approval to feel valuable, you've told the world that you don't fully believe in your own worth. That's the real difference between quiet confidence and loud validation. One is self-sustaining. The other is dependent on outside opinions. Think about it. Who do you naturally admire more? The guy who talks non-stop about how great he is, constantly fishing for compliments, always trying to prove something, or the man who doesn't have to say a word, yet somehow everyone respects him. Real confidence isn't about proving, it's about knowing. It's not about getting people to recognize your value. It's about carrying yourself in a way that makes it undeniable. This is where so many men go wrong. They think if they showcase enough, whether it's their job, their car, their status, their physique, then women will naturally flock to them. But here's what actually happens. When you try to impress too much, you end up repelling. It's like desperation in disguise. And nothing is more unattractive than a man who needs validation. Now, contrast that with the man who doesn't need to prove anything. He speaks when he has something to say, but he's never trying to fill silence just for the sake of being heard. He walks into a room and he doesn't need attention, yet he still gets it because his energy speaks for itself. He isn't seeking approval, and that makes people naturally drawn to him. Women can sense this a mile away. The guy who needs their validation will always chase. He'll text too much, try too hard, over-explain himself, and act way too eager. Meanwhile, the man who knows his value never needs to chase, because he's too focused on his own life to need anyone's approval. That's the kind of energy that keeps women thinking about you long after you've left the room. You don't have to play games. You don't have to act like you don't care. You just have to truly not need validation in the first place. The moment you detach from needing people's approval, ironically, that's when they start giving it to you freely. So, let me ask you, are you the man who needs to be seen, or the man who doesn't care if he is? Because one gets attention for a moment, and the other, he's unforgettable. Number 9. Master the balance between desire and detachment, folks. Let's talk about something that most men never truly understand: the fine line between wanting someone and needing them. See, there's nothing wrong with desire. Attraction is natural. You meet someone who excites you, who makes you want to lean in, to get closer. That's human nature. The problem isn't desire, it's attachment. It's when that desire turns into dependence, when your emotions become tied to an outcome, when your self-worth starts relying on how someone else feels about you. That's when you lose power. That's when you start making mistakes. And trust me, folks, women can sense it. They know the difference between a man who wants them and a man who needs them. One is attractive, the other repelling. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how the people you desire the most are often the ones who aren't chasing you? There's a reason for that. People crave what feels just out of reach. If you come across as too eager, too available, too emotionally invested too soon, it kills the intrigue. But here's the tricky part. If you act like you don't care at all, you also lose, because people don't connect with indifference. They connect with presence. That's where the balance comes in. You have to be able to fully experience your emotions without letting them control you. You have to be able to pursue what excites you without becoming attached to the outcome. You have to be able to engage without chasing. The moment you can truly embrace this, everything shifts. You start showing up differently. You stop reacting out of fear. You stop overthinking every interaction. You stop treating attraction like it's something to be earned, rather than something that happens naturally when you are fully grounded in yourself. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you met someone and didn't care about whether it would work out? When was the last time you were just present, fully enjoying the moment, without mentally strategizing your next move? That's what real detachment looks like. It's not about pretending not to care. It's about actually being okay with whatever happens. And this doesn't just apply to dating. It applies to everything in life. The less you need something, the more naturally it flows to you. That's why the men who understand this principle never chase. Not because they're playing hard to get, but because they genuinely don't feel the need to grasp for something that isn't naturally aligning with them. When you can desire without attachment, when you can pursue without desperation, when you can enjoy without needing control, that's when you truly win. That's when you become unshakable. All right, folks, let's bring it all together. If there's one thing you take away from this, let it be this: the strongest position you can be in is wanting, but never needing. When you master the balance between desire and detachment, you stop chasing, you stop overthinking, and you start naturally attracting. Confidence isn't about having it all figured out. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, you'll be just fine. Now, if this message hit home for you, let me know in the comments. And if you're ready to keep leveling up, make sure you're subscribed, because, trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Until next time, folks, stay strong, stay grounded, and keep moving forward.